Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. As you get older, you want to simplify things. I'm at the age now at 46 where are there shirts that fit me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to buy them in every color, like comfort colors. And they have our logos on it. I'm just going to do that. Does the 5-panel hat work for me? Yes. You know what? I'm going to get every hat possible. That's a 5-panel. Simplifying. Well, that's what Copiers Plus can do for you and your print management. Simplify it with excellent customer service. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. You do things a little bit differently today. So we're going to talk to Dave Clawson, former Wake Forest coach, here in a little bit. But I thought we'd do something a little bit fun. Typically, during the week, we record live to tape.
Okay.
So it's just past 10 o'clock. The Hurricanes are unveiling their road uniforms. A lot of speculation about a revamped road uniform for the Carolina Hurricanes. I've seen all sorts of mock-ups and everything else. So it's just past
maybe that crazy logo we saw on a hat that had Doug in a tizzy.
No. It had fans in a tizzy, to which we had to hit up Doug Worf, president of the Carolina Hurricanes, be like, yo, what's up with this hat? He says, It's Zephyr. They do some funky things.
Oh, okay.
It's not that big of a deal.
I knew something was
But to your point,
amiss.
To your point, people saw that hat and they're like, what in the entire hell are the Canes doing? Okay. Is this the new uniform? Like, what's happening?
Okay.
You know, the Stadium Series, was the Stadium Series like did it portend the future of the jersey? People love their jerseys, man.
What about Stormy? What about THICC Stormy?
Well, you know my feeling. You know my feelings on
THICC
this.
Stormy over here? No, he's on my computer. Maybe
THICC Stormy's over here in the guest spot. Okay. You know my feelings on THICC Stormy because when they did the Stadium Series, I wanted them to make an entire if you're going to go full collegiate, well then
give me strutting Stormy.
Give me strutting Stormy on a jersey and go out there and do the thing.
And he does have the hat too. I didn't even realize.
Which they didn't do. That's fine. Yeah. It's whatever. But they have not eliminated THICC Stormy with 2 C's. Mm-hmm. Okay. So anyway, it's just past 10 o'clock. The Canes have tweeted out their unveiling video. I have not seen this yet. We're going to do this live to tape, live reaction. I hear this is what the kids are doing. Live reactions to things. So, all right. Built under the lights, introducing the road uniform. Let's see what we got here.
A great night in Raleigh for the Caniacs.
Oh, they're tying into the Stadium Series. They got the band out.
See the lights.
The lights. They got the band. Are they going to do it? Oh, we got a drum.
First outdoor game in franchise history.
Okay. Very dramatically up. All right. Okay. Stopping it right here because we're watching this thing live to tape.
The Canes logo.
That's Jacob Slavin. It looks like they are incorporating the Stadium Series-esque Eye of the Storm logo. You can tell on the sleeves. I'm pretty sure they're doing the North Carolina flag on the shoulder.
That's kind of part of the uniform,
yeah. Okay. What? Rewind. What? Let's fucking go. Let's go. Let's go.
He made it.
There he is.
He made it.
They did it. They finally listened to me. Oh, that's tight. I like the red because they usually have it on the black. That's tight. I like that. Okay. Okay. Chat goes there. God, that looks good. That looks good.
So
I'm happy.
So you're saying it's possible for Fanatics to make a good jersey?
We haven't talked quality yet. Well, there goes our sponsorship with Fanatics. But anyway, let's see. Let me pull up. Let me see if it's on the. Let me see if it's on the Pro Shop. Hold on a second.
Okay, so I want to tell you something that I never knew.
What's that?
You know how you see something every day, and you just you get used to it.
Yeah, you just think about it, right?
You see those quizzes? And I'm big, obviously, in my algorithm, in addition to like golf swings and MILFs and cheerleaders and other things. Like, I get these quizzes, these sports quizzes, like these are the only NFL teams that have a bird going to the left.
Yeah.
These are the only NFL logos that don't have an S.
Like, are you doing Sporkle? Like, give
no,
me
it's
the
weird.
Like,
Like,
don't have that
it's
stuff?
like people who
Right.
kind of. So Doug Wharf, president of the Carolina Hurricanes, came in here this summer, and over your right shoulder there is a Lego character that I just thought had a Hurricanes logo on it.
No.
And here comes the guy from the Hurricanes who goes, "Why is our logo upside down?"
Mhm.
So after all of these years, I had not a single clue after
you didn't know
seeing
that?
it every time that the black, when you look at it, the black swirl is
Yeah.
on the left.
Yeah.
So when he walks in, he goes,
Yeah. Shout
"Why?"
out to Kevin. Kevin's kid did the 3D print of that, which
Yeah.
is a great looking Lego. But yeah, the logo's
He
upside
goes,
down.
"Why? He goes, "Our logo's upside down." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, he was right.
I had no idea. So now on these new jerseys, how the fuck am I supposed to know what's upside down? What's not?
All right, pulled this up, going for 205. Oh, look at that. God, that looks good.
But okay, why not make the whole jersey?
I agree. Why
Had
not
a
make
strut
well,
Stormy.
because you know how people are. They would, if they did the whole jersey with that on the front, people would be making fun of it. Oh, you know,
They're an
they're
unserious.
an unserious team. It makes sense. You're in a college town. It's not a real pro market. Blah 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 blah. But the fact that they are honoring THICC, look at them thighs, man. Look at them thighs.
Shoes look good too. I don't think I ever noticed the shoes.
Look,
before.
Stormy. The reason why I respect THICC Stormy
Why
is
would
that
a pig need shoes though?
at some good question. At some point, you do
Well,
have
also,
to.
like,
you got to
we're-
embrace what you are, and that's kind of how I am too in the
Go
summertime.
back.
I closed out.
Is there like an unwritten rule that all pigs have to Porky Pig?
What do you mean?
He's wearing a sweater, no pants. Why wear a sweater with no pants?
Oh, hold on a second. Let me pull them back up.
So you need a sweater and you need shoes,
Well,
but no
it's
pants.
It's the Donald Duck.
or Porky Pig.
Yeah, the Donald Duck, the Porky Pig. Oh, come on, man.
Or is that like
You've
a sweater that covers?
Well, it looks like it's long enough.
I bet you if Stormy goes swimming, he wears a bathing suit.
Probably. Come on, you've never walked around the house, Porky Pig, Donald Duck? Never walked around the house like that? Who has it? I respect that. Yeah, you haven't had one too many OG lights in the past and be like, yeah, man.
The shoe's confused.
No, so yeah. Are we? Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy a jersey. Definitely gonna have to buy a jersey. All right, let's go to the sports phone because I got a funny call that came in that also ties into some impeccable timing yesterday in Chapel Hill.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
As always, the OG Sports Phone brought to you by our friends at Nature's Relief. Check them out online at naturesreliefhempstore.com. I might need to take a gummy after I got so hype about THICC Stormy on a jersey. You might be a Carolina fan that is looking to chill the hell out because you've been inundated with nonstop takes about Bill Belichick. So I understand.
Stay in the darkness.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's go to a 252.
Hey guys, my name's Zach. I'm sitting out here on my lunch break, out beneath some beautiful trees, leaves blowing in the wind. Just a great Tuesday here, in Franklin County, North Carolina. I can hear something different in the wind today. The wind's coming from the west, maybe from the direction of Chapel Hill, and there's just this sound ever so softly coming through the wind. But maybe if you stop for a minute, you can hear it as well. That's right. It's saying, when does basketball season start? When does basketball season start? It's getting louder. I'm going to have to go inside. It's getting way too loud and obnoxious out here. I'm getting scared. Bye, guys.
I texted our former OG media podcasting colleague, Roy Cooper, yesterday.
He's not former. He's still.
Yeah,
He's
I guess.
still ours.
Have we not worked that out?
Yeah, no, he's like a Marine.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you're OG, you're OG.
Semper Light. So I apologize to the Marines. I apologize.
That was good.
Apologize. I'm sorry. Shane, Jacob's hockey coach, former Marine.
Again,
Thank you for your service.
you're never a former Marine.
You're right.
You're always a
Always
Marine.
a Marine. My bad. No, so I texted Roy Cooper yesterday because remember when he came in, he said Bill Belichick's number one job is to delay the start of the discussion about the basketball season. It lasted one series, essentially, maybe 2 quarters, right? And I saw yesterday that Hubert Davis, head coach, Carolina, had his preseason media availability in Chapel Hill. I'm like,
and somewhere Mac Brown cackles.
I laughed. I mean, like legitimately laughed when I saw his media availability was yesterday. And this is not about their offseason moves. It's just the fact that you're telling me that Hubert Davis's first media availability since March, official media availability since March, was yesterday, the day after Bill Belichick at North Carolina was embarrassed on primetime against TCU? Come on. Who planned that? I did some poking around. Apparently, Hubert Davis was supposed to meet with the media last week, but he had the thought of, well, man, look, everything is about football. It's going to get lost in the sauce. I'll do it sometime next week. Incredible timing. Incredible timing. Although it's interesting, since we have been talking about basketball, there have been some basketball things floating out there on the internet that I thought were interesting, and maybe right now is the time to do it, right? So, like, I did an Eye on College basketball episode with Gary Parrish like 2 weeks ago, related to it's their shoot around. They're just kind of checking in on things like that. And Gary's whole conversation with me wasn't necessarily about roster changes, predicting their schedule and all that kind of stuff. He just wanted to get what the vibe was for Hubert Davis going forward and whether or not he was really like on the hot seat. And I know that some Carolina fans were annoyed that I was the one talking about that, but I got why Gary wanted to talk to me. And it was more along the lines of looking at the big picture. Because as I mentioned to you on the podcast, as you like to say, nothing around here happens in a vacuum. Okay. One of the things that I thought was interesting in response to my appearance with Gary was I was talking about UNC and Hubert Davis, and a lot of people were like, well, why aren't you bringing up John Shire choking in the Final Four? I was like, well, I mean, we want to talk about blowing leads in the Final Four? Would you want to talk about blowing a lead in the national championship game in 22? Like, I don't like, what does that mean exactly? But there's
now John did, by the way.
Which is what I was setting up here. He was on with John Rothstein either this week or last week, as they're doing Rothstein at CBS is doing his summer shoot around, talking to coaches and whatnot. He had talked to Dan Hurley, which we'll talk about here in a second. And, you know, one thing that I'll keep saying about Shire in particular, and I was having this conversation with a national basketball writer too, when he said to me, I don't think John's a top 15 coach in college basketball. Where if he is, he's like 15. I said, you're telling me there's 10 other guys in college basketball.
He's like, saying there's 14.
I don't think he's number one.
No, I'm not saying he is, but okay, I got you.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you want to put him like, come on, he's at least a top 5, top 7 coach right now.
Well, look what Kalen DeBoer is doing in Alabama right now. For whatever curve you want to, you should probably take that into consideration.
And these were things that I was bringing up, and I was like, the guy's won 2 ACC championships. He's gotten to an Elite 8, and he recovered from that Elite 8 to get to a Final Four. And also, he's like, well, I didn't really like his end game coaching. I'm like, okay, like, and I brought this up. I said, you want to go back in time? This is another reference to the Roy Williams radio shows. That man won 3 national championships at North Carolina, and people still bitch about the timeouts. So every coach, the greatest to ever do it, have their flaws and some things that they'd like to have back, right?
This Shershewski guy from Army, he'll never make it because he only wants to play man-to-man.
So I thought it was kind of weird that we're doing that. I said, like, let the man evolve a little bit. Let him kind of grow into the role, which I think he's already done a good job. And sure enough, we're still talking about the Houston loss. And I know you said, fair. And I know you said it, like, that's one that's going to stick with you for a while. Yeah. And it's fairly obvious that Shire's still sticking with them. So here's Rothstein talking to Shire and what exactly happened after they lost to Houston.
Alabama gave you a chance to go to the Final Four as a head coach, and you can't win a national championship unless you go, to the Final Four. That was a professional high. And then 7 days later, you have the difficult loss to Houston in the national semifinals. I'm curious, after that game, what did you tell your players in the locker room?
The Houston game you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just that I love them, and just that, I'm sorry because I told them I didn't feel I helped them enough down the stretch. And they literally, John, did everything we asked of them. They just, in terms of their effort, their approach, every single day. That doesn't mean there's not mistakes during the course of a game. Of course there are. That's part of basketball. But man, they were a special group for me to coach. And, when you're dreaming about, man, the season and you're thinking about how you want it to end, you don't think about it ending in that way. And that's part of the beauty, of college basketball. I'm sure how Houston, was celebrating in the other locker room versus how we were in our locker room, right? And we've been fortunate to be in the locker room celebrating a lot of the time. But that was our moment of just going through that. And so I felt horrible for our players. They did everything to put us in a position to play for the national championship game. And really for me, it was just all about gratitude.
That sounds well adjusted, right?
He also said, hey, man, I'm pretty sure he also said, I let the team down.
Yeah.
I need to be better. I need to coach them up better, which, you learn from those. So that's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
It's okay to fail as long as you learn from it.
Now, let's juxtapose John Shire looking somewhat well adjusted and losing in a big moment with a generational talent and just kind of going forward with Dan Hurley, UConn basketball coach, who's got a book coming out. And man, do we have to, Dan kind of uses us as therapy, I guess. That's fine. You got to find it somewhere. Some people would accuse me of using this podcast as therapy.
Okay.
I see you, blind lemon jello. So the news today, the big breaking news today is that, and shout out to Roback getting a.
There we go.
Can you tell that my cookies tell me I go to Roback all the time?
Yeah.
So this is the headline. UConn's Dan Hurley considered resigning after the 2024 season. I was completely cooked. This is in a new book with Ian O'Connor, Never Stop, Life, Leadership, and What It Takes to Be Great. And after back-to-back championships didn't go the way that he wanted in 2024, quote, it was unhealthy to be ruminating this way. I was unhealthy. I desperately needed to get out of town, flee to my standard hideaway, Dorado Beach in San Juan. I needed to do some healing, not think about basketball for a few days. That wasn't possible in this new era. The transfer portal and NIL deals make every college player a free agent. So right after the tournament, I needed to be in my office, in stores. If I left town right then, I wouldn't have a team in 2025, 2026. At that point, I wasn't even sure that I would return in 2025, 2026. He was cooked. You tie this in to his appearance with John Rothstein, which was aggregated by On3, and we get this. Dan Hurley addressed previous NBA coaching rumors, leaves door open for a future pro career. Okay, so this was on Inside College Basketball. He's promoting the book, and he said, and this is the part that I thought was interesting. Well, he said that a lot. I mean, my dad is like, at different points in my career, I think with Bob too in coaching, I think, he's advised us, to make the move or, take a bigger job. And he never did. So I always took any of my dad's advice on something like that, career advancement, with a heavy grain of salt because he never left. He never left St. Anthony. So yeah, I get a lot of advice from my dad relative to my team and my tactics and players, and maybe rotation and maybe even culture. But the one thing I did not listen to from Bob Hurley Sr. is about how to advance my career because my dad, he never left high school and he could have coached at any level. Does that sound like some dad trauma does Dan want to join us for a commercial break?
Cats in the cradle,
right,
Joey?
So this man, here's the thing about Dan Hurley that I find fascinating, and it's fascinating on multiple levels. In that, we've already now had, because he talked about the Knicks job too. This is now 2 phantom NBA jobs that he's been attached to.
Well, the Lakers job was a complete fabrication.
Total fabrication. To be clear, Adrian Wojnarowski flew so close to the sun to help one of his guys out that I'm convinced that's the reason why he retired.
Sure. Because
his ultimate power play was, I'm going to make this man the Lakers coach out of thin air. That's how powerful I am. It failed. Did Dan Hurley ever really come up with the Knicks job? Did I miss that?
The Knicks job was open for like a super long time. Dawn Staley, South Carolina women's coach, said I would have taken the job.
So
she actually did talk to the Knicks.
If I'm a Connecticut fan, this is where we get into the blue blood aspect, right? Your favorite conversation.
Oh, I hate it when you're right.
If I'm a UConn fan, I'd be fucking pissed. Because this sounds like a guy who doesn't want to be there and a guy that hasn't understood what it is to evolve after you've reached the highest mountaintop, like a Coach K has, or Roy Williams has, or any number of truly great, outstanding coaches. There's a funny thing that happens in our business. You won. How do you handle it after you've won? You've developed a reputation of being this outsider, this hard ass, and I'm doing this, like nobody believed in me. You won back-to-back national championships. Now comes the hard part.
With an ECU transfer and a Loyola Maryland transfer.
And I know that's how it sounds. Now comes the hard part.
Yeah.
And this man's having a public breakdown. Now, I hope ultimately he's okay, but I'm reading all these things and I'm seeing these quotes and I'm thinking to myself, buddy, you don't want to be here. And the minute you get a whiff of that, it's bad news. Bad news for UConn.
Hearing those comments, first of all, if you're not familiar with his father, Bob Hurley Sr.,
which Adrian Wojnarowski wrote a book, Miracle at St. Anthony.
He's the most accomplished coach in the history of New Jersey high school basketball.
Yeah.
Okay. He was of the ilk of a Bob Knight, of the ilk of a Mike Krzyzewski, a very hard driving, older than old school, the definition of old school.
Yeah.
Okay? But somehow found a way to help hundreds of inner city kids all throughout Jersey City and throughout northern New Jersey in a way that otherwise their lives never would have been changed. So there's a little bit more there than just an asshole blowing a whistle and make them run wind sprints until they throw up.
Yeah.
So that's why Woj wrote the book about him to begin with. So for those context purposes, but when I hear him say this, and I still want now, Dan Hurley, I consider myself a contemporary of Dan Hurley.
Mm-hmm.
I played against his high school. I didn't play against St. Anthony's, but I played against his AAU team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I understand Dan Hurley's mindset. Now, my dad was a high school coach, but he was not anywhere near. My dad was a complete opposite personality wise from Bob Hurley. Okay. But I do consider myself a contemporary of Dan Hurley from northern New Jersey, of a certain age, of a very competitive nature. Okay. From that mindset. So I forever have wanted to hear his thoughts on Cooper Flagg. And I now hearing this comment, now Cooper Flagg from Maine,
Mm-hmm.
a player from Connecticut who they recruited hard, who they still couldn't beat Duke for. Okay. Hearing him make these comments about, well, it was the end of the season. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to coach, all this other stuff. Makes me think of Roy Williams. And remember when he won his first national championship in 2005.
Yeah.
He famously did not celebrate winning his first championship because the next morning he woke up and went to Tyler Hansborough's house.
Yes.
And said, and they even looked at him like, what are you doing? And he's like, you don't get it. I got one. They were like, oh, you just won your championship. You did that. No, I ain't worried about that one. I'm worried about the next one.
The next one.
And Hansborough being recruited by Kansas, being recruited by Duke, he made sure.
Mm-hmm.
He made sure.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, that's the difference. You want to be an all-timer? Yeah, winning back-to-back. Roy never did that. Kay did it once.
Mm-hmm.
Winning back-to-back is really, really hard. It's really, really special. But if you want to elevate from just another guy to an all-timer, you go and get Cooper Flagg by hook or by crook.
Yep.
And
you're not flirting with the Lakers. You're not out here talking about your dad. And I'm not going to listen to my dad.
He don't know what he's
talking about. Like, no, dude. No, dude.
By hook or by crook?
No, man.
Roy Williams got Tyler Hansborough. Roy Williams won his second national title because of Tyler Hansborough.
Yep.
And quite frankly, would have won another if Tyler Hansborough's nose wasn't broken in 2007.
Fair enough.
So I hear some of those comments and I think to myself, that's not a great place for you to be in, dude.
No, it's not a good
it's not
place.
a great place. And going to the NBA is not the different change of pace that you're looking for. Going to the NBA would just wear you out and break you down. And
you get to run the show at UConn. You're telling me you're going to be able to deal with all the gossip and there's all sorts of stuff that happened in the NBA. But anyway.
Think about what happened here in Raleigh. He completely lost his mind here in Raleigh after losing to Florida.
Lost it.
And it was like, what is going on?
Because the hardest thing to do is to adapt after you've won. And a lot of people do not know what to do after they win.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
Folks, we don't do this all the time, but we did get a call to the sports phone that is an endorsement of Enovana. So we will play that right now.
Hey, Joes. I have two quick takes. First, shout out to Enovana. I've been telling my wife she needs to book them for cleaning. And, of course, she tells me what does a sports podcast know about house cleaning? She did her research and found out that Inovana is everything she was looking for, from green cleaning solutions to their price-beating other companies. Chalk that up for a win, which I needed because Chapel Bill did not bring me a win on Monday night. Yikes. So, let me get this right. Washed up mediocre Mac riding a national championship that passed him a long time ago with a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback made way for a washed-up Bill Belichick riding Super Bowls he won years ago with a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback. Got it. Question for my Tar Heel fans. Does 8-4 feel better when we start 5-0 or 3-2? Because Triangle Good just lost us $50 million.
Great call.
That's an even greater existential question.
That
about
is ooh.
finishing 8-4 after going 5-0. You're not happy.
Ooh.
But as we predict, Carolina will be 3-2 this year and could still finish 8-4.
Yeah.
Of course, there's going to need to be a win over Duke and/or State in that equation.
This is true. Speaking of existential things, think about life, ponder life, have a laugh, hear some stories. It's all happening at the Rialto September 19th with the Sklar brothers. So go to therialto.com. It's for the American Cancer Society, raising money, hearing stories. And again, having a wonderful night with the Scolars. We will be there. We'll have our friends of the program will be in the house with us. It'll be Mike Maniscalco, Canes play-by-play, and Chip Patterson from CBS Sports. I'll be hanging out. And I believe we're bringing back You're Full of Shit, Giglio.
Ooh.
Let's get hyped. So go to therialto.com. But before that, Friday, outside of Raleigh Times here, across from our studio, first Friday, OG Light will be there, and you'll have access to hats.
Yeah. No, we're selling them legit.
I know. But I still like saying access. Keep up with the bit.
My bad.
Keep up with the bit.
Yeah, access.
Access to hats.
Not.
Access to hats. You want access to incredible polos, hoodies, performance pants, all that kind of stuff. It's all at Roback. Check them out online at roback.com. RHOBACK.com. Use that promo code OG20 and you'll save 20% off your order. With football season being here, look, man, you want to look fresh. You want to stunt on your friends. You're going to do that with the wonderful patterns on their polos. Saw a ton of them in Chapel Hill over the weekend. I'm sure we'll see more at NC State. We'll see more at Duke. Wake Forest got some great stuff. So check them out. Roback.com.
You're missing
OG20.
You're missing the boat, though.
App State?
Nope.
Which one did I miss?
Look at that hoodie.
That's a good ECU hoodie.
Arr.
So use that promo code OG20 because, like I said, it is hoodie and shorts season. It's here, folks. Get hype. Also, big thanks to Happy and Hail. Check them out with the app. Download the Happy and Hail app and use our promo code OG25 to save 25% off your order.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hail.
I apologize for the hockey break. I took a Jersey Reveal Thick Stormy break. I'm a little winded. I need to recover. I should go get the Allman Brothers when we're done with today's program. Use the promo code OG25, save 25% off your order. We'll see Matt Davis tonight. We're headed to Garner because we got a fantasy football draft. Somehow I've got roped into this. I knew it was going to be the case. I'll still call my team the Craptacular Idiots. So we'll be hanging out with Matt Davis, and I'll be having a conversation with him about, so I finally got my insurance rate with Caleb now as a fully licensed driver.
Just wait till the first accident.
What? No.
They all get one in the first year, dude.
Stop it.
They all do.
Stop it. So I'll talk to Matt Davis.
Which
about
I
that.
quickly figured out by being over at the high school the other day.
Dude, it's a war zone.
These kids. I mean, honestly.
There's a reason why.
Honestly.
Shout out to Heaster with Bennett, right?
Yeah.
Bennett, when he was like, I love Bennett, man. Bennett's trying to get you in the nice. I get like he's trying to understand because if he was selling a car to me or you,
Sure.
be like, dude, are you sure you don't want to are you sure about that, man? Like, no, this isn't much. I'm like, no, Bennett, you don't understand. Have you seen the Enloe parking lot? I am not
honestly.
I am not spending X amount of money on that because that car is going to come out of there with dings, dude. I am not spending. Now, if you want to approach me with the Honda Element of my dreams, then yes, we can have that conversation. But for my son, a Honda Civic with 165,000 miles on it is the move. And it's running great because Easter helps you out. But again, I got to save money. And that's where Matt Davis is going to help you out. Just thinking about my insurance rates, I want to eat my feelings. A lot of people eating feelings right now. Best place to do it is Two Roosters. Although they're not eating their feelings at Duke right now because Duke, people feeling, we'll see what happens against Illinois. You can get Two Roosters at Wallace Way. Double tracks.
Jared is fired up. He was there for the Elon game. He'll be out there on Saturday for the big game, noon against Illinois. Top 15 Illinois at this point. big chance for Duke on Saturday to kind of show it off. Well, what better way to go out than with Devil Tracks?
Love it. Absolutely love it. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, former Wake Forest head football coach, current ACC Network analyst in the studio. It's good to see you over the weekend. He is Dave Clawson. So how's the transition been? I'll be honest, it was a little weird not to see you at ACC kickoff and hear about your wonderful summer vacation.
It's different. I don't think you do anything for 36 or 37 years and not feel like there's a readjustment. But overall, I've enjoyed it. I'm doing a lot of different things at Wake, involved in the business school and development. And I've really enjoyed working with the ACC Network. The people there have been great. And I'm learning a lot. And I think at this point in your life, whenever you can do something and learn a lot and you're motivated to do it, you kind of feel like you're using a different part of your brain. But what I've learned, and you guys know this, is the amount of work that goes into a 1 hour show is incredible. The detail, the script down to the minute. It's really a very, very impressive setup and organization up there.
I apologize, Coach, because you've been so generous with your time through the years with us that you are now, quote unquote, one of my guys, right? So I had 3 different people, independent, like different fan bases, right? One was a Carolina fan, one was a State fan, one was a Wake fan. They sent me a message, either texted me or sent me a DM that said, your guy should be on ESPN proper right now. Yeah. He should be on the main show. He should be on whatever the main game of the week is. He is that good. So I don't know what you did, Coach, because I'm at the games. I'm not watching TV, so I didn't see you.
Fish to water on that TV, man. But it was fish to water.
You had three different fans. Only one that would have an affinity for you. They all said the same thing. Your guy is a star. So, that's not surprising at all either. Obviously,
that's very, very nice of them, and I do feel like I'm learning a lot, and hopefully we'll continue to get better at it.
All right, well, let's throw you in the deep end then. What did you think as a coach? Take everything else out. Take everything, all the pomp, all the circumstance, all the history, everything else. What did you think Monday night went wrong for Carolina?
It's just sometimes those things happen in football games. And, to me, what's changed is the amount of overreaction after 1 week. Arch Manning is probably going to be a really, really good quarterback. I think Clemson is going to have a super football team this year. And I think people underestimated how good TCU is. That's a program just a few years ago was playing for a national championship. They have an established program. They have an established head coach. They had a lot of returning players. And it's a program that's also very committed. It's not like TCU doesn't care about football. And they got a great athletic director in Mike Buddy, who was a former Wake guy. And I know Sonny Dykes, and he's a heck of a football coach. So I thought going into the season, that would be one of Carolina's, I thought that would be their second or third hardest game. And, but you turn the ball over and, they score on defense and, sometimes things get out of hand. So it happens.
I'm curious. Not all coaching is coaching. I get that. But there's levels to it and adapting to where you are coaching, whether it's college, even within college, which conferences, what school, pro versus college, and things like that. In talking with coaches around the ACC or just in general walks of life, is coaching in college right now a more difficult endeavor than, say, coaching in the NFL?
I think it's way more difficult. I think it's because there's, usually in college, the benefit of college was there is stability. You recruit a young man and, you may have him for 5 years, at least 4, and occasionally 3 if he was exceptional. And those was what you would call good problems, because if you lost a guy in 3 years, it's because he was a great player. Mm-hmm. And so I think the coaches that are succeeding best in this environment, number one, have resources. I mean, that whole back and forth between Mike Gundy yesterday and Dan Lanning, I mean, the schools that have resources and invest should make no apologies for it. That's what the game is now. But having systems on both sides of the football that you can plug a guy in and within 3 months get him ready to play, that's the challenge. It used to be, hey, we can redshirt him, we can teach him our system, and by the third year, if he develops, we'll have a really good program. You can't do that anymore. You better have a system that's very adaptable, that's very user-friendly, that you can pull players in and plug them in and play right away. And you're doing that while for some teams, 70% of your roster is flipping every year. And then you go through a player the whole spring and you think, okay, we've got a corner, we've got a linebacker. And then he holds you up for a raise and he's playing for another team 2 months later. It's just, it's become so transactional, but it's forced coaches to adapt, to have very easier systems. And because of that, the level of talent you have, it's harder for coaching to overcome talent gaps now than it was 5 years ago.
Are there positions in your mind that are easier for a guy to come in and plug and play? I say this to you thinking of Carson Beck and his change of environment and what we saw with him. I know it's one game, but he looked the part on Sunday night for Miami. Is that maybe an easier position?
Again, it all depends what your system is. If you're in a system that, the quarterback has to identify the front and call it who the middle linebacker is and flip the routes based on the pre-snap look. Miami has a system. First of all, they have a great offensive line, maybe the best offensive line in the ACC. So
that's a football coach right there.
And Carson Beck had
He's
a
like,
guy.
Giglio, shut up about the quarterback.
Carson Beck also had a guy who made a catch where he did not make that catch of all things at Georgia. So.
Well, and that Malachi Toney, holy cow!
Right.
Wow. I mean, so they have some guy. Miami is really talented across the board, but you also have a quarterback that's played 8,000, 10,000 reps at Georgia. And then you start adding in the practice reps. I mean, he's probably 20, 30,000 reps. And so he's in a very user-friendly system. Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator at Miami, had a plug-and-play quarterback a year ago with Cam Ward. Mm-hmm. So he had to already have a system that was very easily adaptable to a one-year player. And what I thought they did a great job of is how the offense has changed with the different skill set of Carson Beck. Less RPOs, less movement passes. They let Carson do the things that he is really good at, and they're good enough up front, good enough at the skilled positions to do that. Not all teams can do that.
Coach the team that you have, right? Not the one that you want.
So, but that's, again, they have Malachi Toney and they put him in the slot and they get him matched up on safeties and linebackers. And CJ Daniels is a big, tall guy. And I think he's in his sixth year. And, sometimes a good O-line and a receiver can cover up, can make a good quarterback, a great quarterback. And, Sam Hartman will tell you that when he was here.
Yeah.
And we had A.T. Perry and we had Keyshawn Williams and we had Taylor Moran and we had so many good receivers. There's a lot of throws that weren't great throws that those guys, because of their wingspan and their quicks, took 4-yard plays and made them 30-yard plays, or, the 50-50 jump balls became 80-20 jump balls.
Right. Speaking of things a coach can appreciate, and the offensive line, obviously one of them, a good play caller is another. I really was bullish on Florida State against Alabama. I picked them to win that football game. And a lot of that did stem from Gus Malzahn and and what we've seen from Thomas Castellanos, that he was speaking some of the truths about where Alabama is. That's fine, maybe. What was your impression of Malzahn and what he was able to do to kind of inject some new life into that Florida State program?
Well, first of all, I think you have to give Mike Norvell a ton of credit. To be a head coach in 2025 and all the things you have to manage, the roster, the salary cap, raising money for NIL, it's really hard to also be the play caller. And when you are the head coach and you're not the play caller, you can manage the game. And I thought his decision to go for it 4th and 1 at his own 34 with 9:30 left was an example of Mike Norvell is now the head coach. He's managing the game.
Mm-hmm.
I trust my offense. We're controlling the line of scrimmage. My defense is tired. The decision isn't, are we going to go for it? His decision is, what is the best way right now for us to win this football game? And they ran that ball right over Luke Pettibone, who's one of the best centers in the country, who got the ACC Offensive Lineman of the Week award. And they blew Alabama off the line. I mean, it wasn't fluky. It wasn't a pitch, a speed option, a bubble screen. It was a downhill run. And then Malzahn's play call 2 plays later to run the reverse. I thought that was an aggressive, we are going to win the football game here call. So I give Mike Norvell credit. He played to win. He did a great job of managing his team, knowing that the defense was tired. And Gus Malzahn now doesn't have to worry about recruiting, being the GM. He can focus on what he is arguably one of the top play callers in all of college football over the last 2 decades. And I'm sure he's just enjoying calling ball plays. So I just thought that whole sequence there in that game was an example of how Florida State and Mike Norvell have adjusted since last year.
What a great point that only a coach can make, by the way. The humility. Because if you go 2-10, coach, your natural instinct is to say, I'm going to dig out of the hole. I'm going to be the one who solves the problem. Instead, Norvell, as you point out, you got a lot to do anyway. But think about it. It's logical. But think about how many coaches don't do that, don't reach out and say. And now, Malzahn also was a head coach at UCF.
Yeah.
And now obviously there was a financial incentive there, but
he also probably had a little juice with Alabama being on the other side.
Sure,
for sure.
For sure. But the humility to say, to be humble enough to say, I can't solve this problem myself. Yeah. Who am I going to get to help me solve this problem? That does say a lot for Mike Norvell. I'm glad you.
But also the availability of Gus Malzahn. Gus and Mike, those two are like brothers. I mean, Mike worked for Gus at one point, and to have a guy like that available who was your mentor and you trust and who's like a brother. And to me, Gus Malzahn was not selfish. There wasn't financial incentive. How much money did he give up by leaving Central Florida on his own accord to become the coordinator?
Yeah, right.
So that people, it's all about the money. No, for Gus Malzahn, it was a chance to do what he loves to do, what he's elite at, and to work with a really good friend. And he gave up millions of dollars to leave UCF and become the coordinator at Florida State. So that was not a move motivated by money. That was a move motivated by loving the game of football and coaching football.
It's interesting. Oh, did we lose? Oh, we lost Clawson. Where'd he go? We are back recording. Okay. It's interesting. We've gone this long. We haven't even mentioned Clemson yet because that's just kind of how good it was for the ACC this week. I mean, all things considered, Florida State having an emphatic win over Alabama, Miami getting over on Notre Dame in a high-profile game. Clemson loses, but something that Giglio and I talked about earlier this week, not the end of the world. To your point, we don't need to get all hot takey about this. Losing to LSU in the first week of the season is not the worst thing out there. It's a veteran group, but the conversation we always have about Clemson, though, is are they merely ACC good? Like, yeah, man, they're probably going to win the league again. Or are they truly college football playoff national contenders good, which is what Dabo has built to his credit there at Clemson. So how do you view this Clemson team and Dabo doubling down on his culture and developing his guys to have him in this position?
I don't think Clemson has anything to worry about. They played a 1-score game with one of the top 8 teams in the country. And, you look at a year ago, their game with Georgia was non-competitive a year ago. So you're in a 1-score game with one of the country's elite teams. And Dabo does a great job. His teams get better as the year goes on. So, we're not playing for the national championship the first week in September. I don't think that happens till December. So the better coaches and the better teams will have a better team in November than they do in September. And the years that even Clemson hasn't got off to a good start, they always end up in Charlotte playing for the ACC championship. So I think what people miss on that game is how elite both defenses were.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched that game on TV, and then I went back and watched it from a coach's view on the coach's film. And I'm going to be shocked at the end of the year if those weren't two of the very best defenses in the whole country. That was high level defense. The margin of error on offense in that game was so small. And so, Garrett Riley's a good offensive coordinator. Cade Klubnik is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. They have good coaches. They have good players. They're going to be fine. Now, there's things in that game they didn't do well, but everything they didn't do well is fixable, coachable, correctable. I think Clemson is going to be fine, and they got 3 months.
I wanted to go back to Belichick from an overall coaching perspective. It's something that Giglio and I spent a good chunk of the day yesterday talking about. You spend all off season trying to instill in your guys that you believe in what we're teaching you, follow through what we're doing, and things will take care of themselves. But then you go out and you have an embarrassing loss. Every coach has been there. Every coach has been there. And I guess the idea being, now comes the difficult part. How do you get that room to still buy in and follow through with what you're trying to execute and get better as the season goes on? And that's what they have coming up against Charlotte, a game that will not be nationally televised. That'll be an ESPN Plus game. So how do you, in your experience, how have you kind of overcome or worked through really deflating losses like that?
Well, I used to always tell our coaches that our job starts every season after the first competitive game.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter what we think we were in spring football and in fall camp, once you play that first competitive game, you kind of find out where you really are. Like you might think that, hey, we're a great running team. And then you find out the reason you ran the ball well is you're not good on the D line. Or, boy, we're really good in the secondary. Well, we're maybe not very good at receiver, and until you play another competitive game. And that's when the job starts is, okay, this is what we think we were going to be. This is what we are. What are the adjustments we make? How do we have to play the game this year to give our team the best chance to win? And in my time here, there were years early in my career that we were much better on defense than offense. And so we slowed the game down. We snapped the ball with under 8 seconds. We shortened the game, and we tried to get to the fourth quarter in a 1-score game. And then all of a sudden, some of our offensive kids got older, and we played differently because we were better on offense than defense. And so I think he's finding that out. This is the first year he's coached college football. This is the first time he's watched his team compete. And I'm sure when they watch that film, they're saying, you know what? We might be a little better in this area than we thought we were, but we're way worse in this area than we thought. How do we maximize what we're good at and minimize our weaknesses? And that's what strategic coaching is, what hill are you going to die on? How are you going to win the game, and how are you going to prevent losing?
We can't let you leave without a state take. I'm laughing because in the run up to the season, you said that NC State could be either a dark horse or surprise or whatever. And I was like, yeah, because they don't have to play you.
You did ask. You did ask Dickert if Clawson had left any sort of like super secret NC State sauce in the building.
You win 5 of your last 8 against State, and I didn't even realize this until I looked it up this morning. And because I was thinking to myself, overall, you have a losing record to Dave Doran. People may not be aware of this, okay? But of those wins, Dave Doran's won 9 games 4 times. You beat 3 of those teams that won 9 games. So yeah, when you're like, who could really surprise this year? Yeah, because they don't have to beat you.
Well, and
that wasn't a question. That was editorialization.
Well, in 17 and 21, we had pretty good teams too.
You did. Fair enough, my friend.
The one time I felt we stole one was 18. But 17, we had a really good team that year that just had a really hard schedule. And in 21, and both of those games went down to the wire. In 17, if Demetrius Kemp doesn't, pop the ball out Mamika, that's a different game. And in 21, if the onside kick goes 6 inches the other way, who knows? But I have a lot of respect for Dave. The first 2 years they got after us pretty good. And then once we got the program built, those were great games.
Yeah.
And, I think for us, we always viewed NC State as our primary rival. And, sometimes the Wake fans don't like to hear that because they view Carolina. But when you don't play a team every year and they're in the other division, it's hard to make them a rival.
Yeah.
NC State was in our division. We played them every single year. And that became in our minds, our rival game. And I think that helped us because our kids always got up for that game. And I don't know if NC State viewed us that way. So I thought that always helped us.
Yeah. Which is interesting too, because there's a lot of history between those two programs. And just like with State and Duke playing in football, there's always been some wacky games and whatnot. And it's interesting. I guess we can close on this specific to NC State. And as you were talking about what you think you have, and then when you play your first competitive game and then you realize, all right, maybe this is what we're going to be, there's a transition in that. And I kind of view that with Dorn and NC State, where I think we're the last 2 years, they've had some dynamic offensive pieces, which is not that NC State hasn't had that before, but their calling card has been defense. Yeah. It's having Peyton Wilson, as Giglio likes to say, having this eraser that can help you out on the defensive end. In the last 2 years, I felt like, no, State should probably tilt the other way. Like, not that Dave wants to win games 34-30, but you might have to, right? And I thought it was curious after the ECU game. He did say, yeah, we got to get into the 30s on this one. I was like, aha, he sees it. Because they got some dudes on offense this year.
Yeah, the other thing is sometimes like just having guys that want to be there is really important. And, I thought the quarterback played great. Mm-hmm. I really think they have good receivers. Wesley Grimes, who we know well, had a great game for them. But I was really impressed with their defense too. I thought they rushed the passer really well. They've had a little bit of a scheme change with DJ Elliott. He's not running the 3-3 stack. And he is known to be a big zone pressure guy and simulated pressures. And I thought they played really well up front on defense. So when you have a quarterback and you can make explosive plays and you can rush the passer, that's a pretty good starting point to have a good football team. And, again, I know, Dave is in his 12th year, or 13th year. Mm-hmm. You don't make it that long if you're not a good football coach. And so it's funny. It's, now that we don't have to compete against them, you are able to really, there's more of an appreciation for what he's done.
I promise he doesn't appreciate you, Coach. I promise. I promise.
Well, I don't care if he appreciates me. I think he does respect me, though.
I know he does.
And,
I know he does.
And the respect is mutual. And
the competitive.
I said in the studio because I was in the studio for that game, and I told the people there is no way after the bowl game that Dave is going to let his team lose the ECU. This has become a red letter game because of the bowl game, and it got close. But even if they scored at the end, it's still an overtime game. I just didn't think there was any way NC State would lose that game.
Dave Clawson, former Wake Forest head football coach, ACC Network. Looking forward to seeing you back in the studio, and we appreciate your time. Hopefully we can do this again in the future.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm a little bit more relaxed now than I have been the last 11 years. So I enjoy doing these things more than I did before.
You seem super well adjusted, Coach, but something tells me you're going to get a little itchy on September 11th.
Trust me, I already am.
You're a little itchy on September 11th when that red and white gets down and down at your stadium there. They're going to have to lock you up somewhere, I feel like. The juices will be flowing.
Good. Well, thanks so much for having me on. I always enjoy visiting with you guys, and I missed you at ACC Media Day too. That was always one of the interviews I looked forward to the most, and there was always a cool treat involved. So,
you got to get his vacation now. We can't leave without knowing the vacation.
I was going to say real quick. It's funny. I was telling this to Joe when we sat down in the studio, and I said, the funny thing about Coach Clawson is I get that FOMO. Right, it's like I had a really good summer.
This is Joe's chance.
I went to Glacier. My wife and I were checking off national parks with the kids. We went to Glacier National Park, which is gorgeous. We went up into Canada to see Banff and that whole area, which was gorgeous. Snuck a trip down to Orlando to see my brother, and went to Epic Universe. Took the kids to Nintendo Land. They had a blast. But I thought to myself, like, well, what did Dave Clawson do this summer?
Well, I'm gonna give you major FOMO right now. So when I stepped down at Wake, they gave me a 5-month sabbatical, and my wife was still working as a teacher. So I went to my wife and I said, these are all the places that I want to go this is my bucket list of trips. Where do you not want to go?
Uh-huh.
And I ended up taking a trip to Sydney, Australia, and Tasmania. So it was, I saw a Tasmanian devil. I got the pet kangaroos. And then with a couple of friends of mine, good friends, we took an 8-day, 9-day trip to Iceland.
Oh, jeez.
Did you see the Northern Lights?
No, we went in the
Weren't out
summer,
yet?
and I think those are typically, you got to see those in the winter. But
Okay.
Yeah.
if
My
you
parents-
enjoy
My parents
Glacier
went-
National Park, Iceland both places were gorgeous and stunning, but they were very kind of outdoorsy adventure type trips. And
Did you have puffin while you were in Iceland?
I didn't, because we went to the Westman Islands where all the puffins are.
Yeah.
And those birds are so cute that after I saw them, I couldn't get myself to eat one.
My parents went to Iceland a couple of years ago because we got a direct flight at RDU now. And they were sending me some pictures of their food. Like, we're talking like whale blubber and like puffin. I was like, nah, couldn't be me. You got a cheeseburger anywhere around? Could not be me.
Well, I didn't feel the same way about the lamb. There's more lambs than people in Iceland.
Oh.
And somehow I didn't develop the same affinity for the lamb that I did the puffin. So there were some good lamb chops that were had.
Fantastic.
Well, now I'm curious though. What were the other trips on the
bucket
list?
here on the list here?
I mean, this probably doesn't surprise you, but I was kind of very intentional about how I spent those months. Is I put down a list of what I consider, my 8 to 10 best friends in the world that I haven't spent enough time with over my coaching career. And every time I saw them, they were coming to see me because of my schedule.
Right.
And so I made the point of going to see them. So I got back to my hometown of Youngstown, New York, up near Buffalo 3 different times and hung out with high school friends.
Nice.
I saw friends up in Boston. I got together with some old college teammates and friends. And, as much as it's great to see places like Iceland and Tasmania, the quality of the trips is always better with who you spend your time with. And so I just, these are the people that mean the most to me. I haven't probably been the best friend in the world the last 35 years. And, I wanted to say, hey, when are you free? I'd love to come up and see you. And it was great. So whether it was a round of golf or a dinner or all those things, it was just so much fun to catch up with people that are near and dear to me. And that includes my family. I spent a lot more time with my mom and dad, my brother, my 2 sisters, and my extended family. And, over the past 35 years, because of my job, I probably haven't been the best friend or the best brother or best son. And you can't ever make that up, but you can let those people know how important they are and that you do care about them.
That sounds like good time well spent. That's awesome. I'm glad that you were able to do that over the last couple of months and settle back in and get to a different kind of work. So we appreciate the time as always, and we will check in with you later.
Okay. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Triangle good is not something that is specific and contained to the actual triangle here in North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, and surrounding areas. Folks, Triangle good, it's a vibe, it's a lifestyle, and it goes all the way to Homer, Alaska as well. Chris Brasfield joining us now on the Eastern Automotive Group hotline. He is now a new corporate champion of ours, as we always do with our corporate champions for the first time. We'd like to introduce them to the audience. First and foremost, Chris, before we talk about Brasfield Accounting and what exactly it is that you can do for people in our audience, how in the world are you in Homer, Alaska, listening to this podcast, my man? How does Triangle good make it all the way out there where the sun never sets?
It's true. Yeah, no, it's an interesting story. Yeah, so I grew up in Western Kentucky, but my brother went to grad school at Wake Forest, my older brother, and so got a little taste of North Carolina then. And then for grad school, I went to NC State. Obviously, loved the area. We ended up living there for 10 years, and it kind of fell in love with the area. We ended up moving. So the odd thing is, my wife got a cold call for an interview out here in Alaska. And like many people that live in like small rural Alaska, you come out there and we just were like, okay, sorry, we're done. So this is where we are. But everything, again, our kind of most of our clients, most of our employees are actually there in the Triangle. I still am a diehard Hurricanes fan. So still love the area. I listen to you on Davis Drive every single day driving home forever from RTP to Nightdale, which is quite the commute, which I'm sure now is probably an additional 30 minutes than it was at the time. So
yes. Traffic is good for our business. I will admit the traffic is good for our business. Sucks for us, but in general, but good for our business.
Chris, you can handle accounting, right? But you actually have a very specific niche for startups like ours and other small businesses in the Triangle, which is why, while you may be in Alaska, you understand the needs of small businesses like ours. So just kind of give people an idea what you typically specialize in accounting.
Yeah, for sure. So our firm, we really try to focus on, I always say, you bring the idea, we take care of everything else. So we're set up for, small companies, startup companies, even, 1 and 2 person companies where folks want to focus on their idea, their research. Yes, exactly.
You're not watching on YouTube. Joe is raising his hand like, hello,
yes.
It's us.
Yeah, you've got a great idea. You've got, a product, you've got research you're working on. You don't want to deal with essentially the business side of the business. So we've kind of set things up to supplement all of that. So as you mentioned, bookkeeping, accounting, financial records, looking at your financial statements, figuring things out, payroll, HR, how do I get workers' compensation insurance? Things like that. We really try to figure out, how to take care of the business part so you can focus on the stuff that you do best, either because you don't want to, or you don't have time to, or you don't know how to do it. So, we've got a team of 17 folks at this point that we've kind of all come from that background. Well, we were the person that the CEO turned to and was like, can you just figure this out? I don't want to read this 500-page document. I don't want to do the research. So we've kind of built things that way. And as you mentioned, in terms of specialties in the Triangle, so we really have a niche in the life sciences, biotech, software, kind of any dorky stuff. We're all dorks. This is what we do.
Yeah.
And even more specific than that, government grants and contracts. So, that's a very complicated world.
Yeah, I was going to say, speak to that a little bit more, right?
But first, look at this, man. I mean, if the moose doesn't get you from Brasfield.com,
the moose is
how?
The moose is fantastic.
That's a local artist. We have our tiny little town of 5,000 has amazing artists. This is a local guy, Dan Coe. He's fantastic. That drew this for us. I told him to make me a dorky moose, and he delivered. I thought on point.
That moose is locked in, locked in on the books. And that's the part I was curious about that maybe you can help better explain. I know enough to be dangerous about what it's like to be part of an LLC. Giglio handles most of that. But I'm not dealing. This is pretty straightforward. We do a podcast. We ask our corporate champions to jump on and give us money to advertise, like you are, right? And it's pretty straightforward, just like my taxes. I'm not asking for government grants. I'm not trying to apply for. I'm not trying to hit compliance on some things. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a hell of a lot more layers to this that you could really be over your skis and overwhelmed if you don't understand. And what kind of business might be looking for some sort of government grants or research grants, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the Triangle's a hotbed for this. Obviously, Duke and UNC and NC State, it's, there's tons of small business grants coming in through the National Institutes of Health, the National Science Foundation. Every single government organization gives these government grants. And if y'all are listening and work for one of these companies, well about these small business grants. And yeah, they basically just shoot you a PDF. Congrats, you won $1 million.
You made it.
How to get the money. They don't tell you how much you're supposed to draw. They don't tell you how to comply with the rules. So what we do is that we set up systems to figure out how to comply with the rules. We don't really like cookie cutter stuff. So we like to talk to the 2-person company that they may have a hard time with a certain rule. So, okay, let's do some research and figure out how can we get your company to fit in this regulation in the right way. So we help folks with that, making sure, again, they're hitting the rules. Can I change my budget? What do I do if the person who applied for the grant left? What do I do? So all of these things, again, you don't get a lot of support. You just kind of get a PDF document that's way too long for anyone to read.
Mm-hmm.
We're dorks. We read it, we figure it out, and we go from there.
Not gonna
So-
lie, the grant business sounds super complicated.
Yeah,
And
forget
that's definitely somebody who has an idea. It was like, well, no, I just got this grant. This is amazing. Well, Chris and Brasfield Accounting, brasfieldaccounting.com. That's the way to go.
And if you think Chris is making up the fact that he's a dork, if there's one thing that I appreciate as as a fellow dork, okay, it's the one thing that people have a hard time processing. Like, oh, wait a minute, you admit that you're a dork. I go, yeah, I own that. What are you gonna say? Like, I know. Oh, you're gonna make fun of me about Star Wars? Congratulations. Like, even I know I'm a dork about that stuff. I asked Chris to show me. Clearly, you're not in the office right now, but the comic shelves and things like that. And you had some stuff on that shelf, man. I'm like, oh, he's really about that life.
Yeah, it's funny because I finally, again, it's like you get to a certain age and you're like, you know what? Yes, I want that Power Rangers figurine.
Yes.
I don't care. I have more than my $5 a month allowance I had when I was 10. I'm going to get it and I'm going to put it on a shelf and I'm excited about it. It's wonderful.
That was me with a Super Nintendo. Do you remember the Super Scope? It wasn't the laser gun like you play with Duck Hunt, right?
Yeah, it was like
Nintendo, and it was like a shoulder mounted, bazooka looking thing, right? I so badly wanted one when I was a kid, but obviously I wasn't going to get it. I mean, I was spoiled, but I wasn't that spoiled, obviously. So as an adult, I saw one at Edward McKay years ago on Capitol Boulevard, and I'm like, "Yo, is that Super Scope for sale?" They're like, "Yeah, it's like $40." I'm like, "Here."
I can do this now. Yes, it's great.
I don't care. Is it collecting dust right now? Yeah, I don't care. I got a Super Scope 6. That's what it's all about. All right, Chris, we appreciate you jumping on board. We will check in with you later, obviously. Brasfieldaccounting.com. If you're watching on YouTube, it's right there on the bottom screen. It is BRAS fieldaccounting.com. And if you're like me and Joe and you have ideas, but accounting is way too complicated for your sports-addled brains, Chris.
Wait, you mean there's rules? There's tax rules that we have to follow?
We just can't sell hats like that? What? Yes, Chris is going to make sure. Chris is going to make sure that you get a handle on that and you're not doing anything that's going to get you in trouble. It's kind of important. Chris, we appreciate it, man.
All right, thanks.
They don't got longleaf in Alaska.
No. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If I told you on April 26, 2023, we would have a sponsor based in Homer, Alaska. Tell me you just wouldn't be like,
oh, okay. I'll roll with it.
Something.
Yeah.
Better yet, if I told you on April 25th, 2020.
Like, wait, what would you be doing?
I'm sorry. We're going to be doing what? What an accomplishment. Big thank you to Chris. And seriously, you really don't know what you don't know when it comes to not only your small business, but those grants. Now, the right word I think we're looking for is fractional
CFO.
Okay.
Yes.
I still don't know what that means.
It just fractional CFO means that you are there as an outside, freelance person helping with this. You're not a full-time
I don't know what that means, but Chris does.
So hit him up. Next time Chris is in town, we got to take him to Longleaf. You got a lunch meeting, you want a dinner date, Longleaf is going to help you out. You got tailgating plans? Longleaf's got packages for that as well. So check them out online at longleafswine.com.
Have you seen the new piggy tray that they have?
Yeah.
They've really evolved the menu.
Hey, look, you got to freshen things up. Like Michael's helping us out with some new graphics and whatnot. They're doing some crazy new stuff over at Longleaf. So go check them out. Same with our friends at the Butcher's Market. They always got some new things coming in. For instance, at the Falls location, the Gleazy.
Yeah.
The Gleazy dog. The kids still love the Gleazy sauce.
The sauce is the real mystery here, right?
The sauce is the winner, man. Even I'm
the
like,
sell, not the mystery. The sell.
That's the good stuff right there. Although the brisket hot dog's really, really good. You can also get OG Light at the Butcher's Market, but anything you need for your tailgate, especially now that it's cooler weather and we've got grilling and all that kind of fun stuff, by all means, go to the Butcher's Market. And of course, we got Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. If you want to enjoy grilling, well, you don't want mosquitoes ruining it for you. So you go to bugsbite.com. Again, that's bugsbite.com. All right, we got There's something that a lot of you have been sending us, and we will get to it here in a second because I didn't think it was real. And a lot of you, I thought you guys got by AI. I really thought a lot of you got by AI. But no, it turns out it's real. We'll get to that in a second. But Joe sent me this, and I'm just laughing here. Did Virginia Tech get embarrassed over the weekend on Sunday?
I didn't think so. I thought it was like I watched that game and I said, hey, Virginia Tech's going to be probably 5-3 in the league and be okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, you lost to a decent South Carolina team.
No, that's a top 10 South Carolina team.
So like, let's relax on this, right? But no, apparently, according to Tech sideline, players meeting. We've already had a players meeting in Blacksburg.
No, come on.
Roughly 15 or so Virginia Tech's leaders relayed a message to the team in the wake of the South Carolina loss. Andy Bitter with the thought process and more. Realigned, refocused, and re-engaged ahead of Vanderbilt.
Oh, they get their payback against Vanderbilt this weekend. Okay.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Oh, because remember last year they were supposed to be good.
Okay.
But then Diego Pavia had other ideas about what was really going to happen.
Okay.
And they lost at Vanderbilt, and everyone's like, oh my God, you suck. You lost to Vanderbilt. Then, of course, Vanderbilt beat Alabama, and all of a sudden it was, well, you know.
It's a different Vanderbilt.
Different Vanderbilt.
No. That's Alabama going through some things, which we'll get to in a second. Meanwhile, Brian Kelly and the family was all in the Paul Feinbaum show. Let's see what look at Brian Kelly, all smiles, coming off a nice win against Clemson.
Labor Day Monday, talking to Coach Brian Kelly after one of the biggest wins in recent years at LSU. First of all, Coach, congratulations. I know there's always a next game, but this one had to be pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but you know me, Paul. I've been on this show whether I've won games or lost games. And, you know, you had a tough loss this weekend, and you came on the show. So I appreciate that.
Whoa!
In the holster.
Whoa! For those who are unaware, Paul Feinbaum, unabashed Alabama guy.
Mm-hmm.
So look at Brian Kelly with the zinger. I love that. All right, you sent this to me. It's 3 a.m. and I love these from StreamBet. It's 3 a.m. and instead of sleeping, I'm up betting on German CD flipping challenges.
Now I need you to set the table here literally because there's a youth out there looking at this going, what are you talking about? All you gotta do is pick it up and turn it over.
No.
Tell me you're over 40 without telling me you're over 40 when you realize the difficulty of this challenge.
I mean, I know I kind of got on Dan Hurley about trauma dumping. Right, but now I'm about to trauma dump because I'm seeing those shiny discs on top of a flat surface, and I'm thinking,
like,
oh, dude, if you're
not
careful with those, your nails are gonna get into that shiny foil, and all of a sudden you're in your car jamming along, and all of a sudden, all right, I gotta watch it. Okay, for the youth, you don't understand. Once that CD creates, I did terrible in AP physics in high school at Cardinal Gibbons. But there's clearly like a static suction thing that occurs on that flat surface, and you can't grip the edges well enough unless you kind of dig in with your nails, right? You got to get it just right or it'll flat back down. This is giving me trauma.
Bei beiden will es nicht so klappen, wie sie sich erhoffen.
You're doing the right thing.
Fingernägel oder nicht. Jetzt liegt zwar ein bisschen besser. Und auf der anderen Seite kamen wieder beide gleich auf. Das wird wieder.
Okay, so when are we?
I love the announcer just getting
hot. Oh boy! All right, I gotta ask. When are we just ripping this off? Like when are we gonna rip off this German TV show and like for summer protocols? Maybe that's what we do for our anniversary for birthday number 3.
Okay,
we go to Shady's.
We do a shopping cart.
We do a few of these at Shady's.
Yeah,
for prices. You in?
I'm in.
All right, I'm excited about this. All right, what else do we have here? This is another thing you sent me with Micah Parsons, who apparently already needs an epidural. So maybe the Dallas Cowboys were onto something. I don't know. Maybe he's not 100%. Joe Popliano, he is a CNBC. I know who this guy is. I follow this guy.
He's Cardinal Gibbons guy, right?
Is he?
Yeah.
When did he graduate?
I don't know, but that's what I was told. He's a Cardinal Gibbons guy.
He's wearing Roback, so he's already cool with us.
You know, that's how he probably knows Ben. No, the setup here is you've been trying to tell people ever since the hockey world figured out there's no state taxes in the state of Florida. Well, that's the reason that the Florida Panthers are winning the Stanley Cup, because there's no,
by the way,
state taxes in the state of Florida.
It's funny you mentioned that. We have to catch up with Eric Tulsky because they've made some changes to the CBA as it relates to the salary cap and salary circumvention and having the role
because of Eric Tulsky. Yeah.
Or maybe because of anyway.
But you know, you made this point. Well, if it's just the state of Florida, then why aren't the Miami Dolphins winning the Super Bowl?
Well, it's not even the Dolphins. The Dolphins have sucked for a long time. The Florida Panthers used to suck and the rules were the same. Anyway, let's see what Joe has to say.
The Parsons, because I've seen a lot of tweets like this over the last few days claiming that he won't make any more money playing for the Packers than what he was offered with the Cowboys because of the difference in taxes between Wisconsin and Texas. But that's not true, and I'll explain why. Now, first, NFL players are taxed in the state where they play each game. This is known as the jock tax. It has been going on for decades, and it diminishes the value of living in a low or no tax state because half of your games are taxed at that rate rather than all of your games. Secondly, Micah Parsons has already said that he will maintain his primary residence in Texas. This is an important distinction because it means that Parsons will pay no state income tax on his $44 million signing bonus or any other bonuses that he receives during the offseason. And third, the Packers' 4-year deal is significantly better than the Cowboys' 5-year offer because it allows Parsons to hit free agency 1 year earlier. Essentially, no big-name NFL players are signing contracts that extend beyond 2029 because that's when the NFL can opt out of its media rights deals. The salary cap will then explode when they sign another round of deals worth more than $150 billion.
So Joe's hitting on a couple different things. You're right about the taxes. The other thing that I again, this gets back to front office people just making mistake after mistake after mistake that compounds if we're going to use financial terms. We all know the salary cap's going up because you're about to cash in a new deal. So why wouldn't you make these deals now? Because we're all going to be useless in a couple of years. So stop overthinking it.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
It was more of that jock tax, which I think people don't really understand.
Well, I think you just nailed it. It's taxes. Most people don't understand that.
Right. I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying.
It used to be, and it's funny when we do everybody's suddenly a tax expert. I used to do my taxes.
I'm not.
Key phrase, used to.
Yeah.
Because Kelly and I had the easiest taxes possible. Like we both have jobs that give you W-2s and we don't have a lot of investments, out. It's just like 529 plans. You know what I mean? Like that's our investment for the kids. So we're not complicated and I could do my stuff on TurboTax. But funny thing happened when we shifted over to being an LLC. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So shout out to Jay who's helped us out because I was looking at taxes this past year going, holy crap, I'm in over my head. So now that's just me. Now let's do this with jock taxes and state residencies and yada, yada, yada. So this, to oversimplify it with, well, they don't pay state income tax. So therefore, of course, these people are going to go there. It's not that simple.
All right. According to the internet, he graduated from High Point University in 2016.
Joe Popliano.
So if he was at Cardinal Gibbons, as one of my sources told me, then it would have been 2011 when he graduated.
Well, damn, I might have talked to him at an alumni career day.
Well, you need to take credit for that. If that is the case,
I doubt it.
Is the case.
I doubt it. I gotta.
Again, sometimes people tell me things, and I should really do a better job of checking.
I need to go through Cardinal Gibbons alumni career services to see if that's actually the case. And finally, as a lot of you have sent to us, Jason Whitlock, who is still here doing the thing somehow, some way, went on his YouTube channel and said that the reason why Alabama lost to Florida State this weekend was because they're too, and I quote, gay.
That's actually in the thumbnail.
That's the thumbnail.
Yeah.
That is the thumbnail.
Basically,
Alabama football,
too
all
gay.
caps, too gay to compete with Florida State.
I had this sent this morning, and I'm like, nah, that's not real.
I've had 5 of our friends send me this clip, and I initially thought,
that's AI.
That's AI.
Yeah.
That is somebody making fun of Jason Whitlock.
Jason Whitlock's got that Ozempic going, eh?
Oh, yeah, he definitely has Ozempic face. So I thought it was people getting got because, it's believable because of where Jason Whitlock is in his career. But no, this was real on his page. Fearless.
I actually did click on it and listen to it to make sure that it wasn't.
BLM, LGBTQIA+, Silent P, Alphabet Mafia is ruining sports. Alabama's best football player is an alphabet soldier, plays wide receiver. His name is Ryan Williams. Runs around with painted fingernails. Showed up to Saturday's game with some sort of anxiety doll that he walked into the locker room with. Your best player, probably your most expensive player, is an alphabet soldier, and you're wondering why the team is soft?
Okay.
I think you get the point.
I
have a serious question. I have 2 serious questions.
Come on, man.
No, I have 2 serious questions now. Did he have this take after Ryan Williams made an unbelievable play to beat Georgia last year?
No.
Okay. Also, I'll be the first to admit this. If you would have said to me, hey, who's Alabama's best player? I probably would have said Ryan Williams. Do you know his numbers since that Georgia game last year?
No, I don't.
He does not have a 100-yard game since that Georgia game.
It's because of the painted nails
last
Joe.
year.
It's because of the painted nails.
He had one game with more than 5 catches since that Georgia game last year. So I'm not sure he's actually Alabama's best player.
Probably not.
No, I know I'm applying way too much logic here for someone whose thumbnail that says Alabama's too gay to win at football. But those were the two things that kind of jumped out at me.
It's interesting. Dimitri and I have talked about this on OG Business as it relates to the conservative sect of sports talk. They don't talk about sports. It's funny. I'm just going to say this.
Clearly.
I'm going to say this as somebody who's been doing this for a very long time, and eventually sports and politics do intersect. It's just a reality of life. But the percentage of time we've talked about like political things, like if people are still bringing up Colin Kaepernick to me as though it's been years since we've even talked about Colin Kaepernick. I mean, we didn't even talk about the fact that ESPN sunk that documentary, that Spike Lee documentary, right? But what I'm getting at here is that, no, we actually do talk sports. That's the thing. When you go to these Outkicks and Jason Whitlock stuff, go look at their thumbnails, go look at all their list of topics. They never actually talk about sports. So that's all I will say to it. Usually every accusation is some sort of like admission. And I think Jason Whitlock just has some things he needs to work through if we're still talking about trauma dumps. If that's your takeaway from Alabama, Florida State, buddy, I feel like you got some other things that you got to work out. Big thanks to DraftKings. Download the app today. Use that promo code OG25. New customers who download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use that promo code OG25, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. NFL season starts up on Thursday. DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. It is my favorite time of the year. It's futures year, futures time of the year. Who's going to be that team that's going to have more than 7 wins? Who's going to go from last to first in their division? All that kind of stuff. Are you going to take $5 and put it on Bryce Young MVP? Because why not?
Okay.
Hey, right now the odds to get the if you believe all the things that happen, like opening up against the Jaguars and Ohio State coming off the national championship and J-Lo marriage stuff. Why wouldn't you put $5 down on the Carolina Panthers to win it all?
One thing I would like to highlight this week is not an individual game, but on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, they have pools. So there are many smart people that will tell you gambling on the NFL on a game-to-game basis is very difficult.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I would be one of those people to tell you. But one thing that DraftKings has, if you go under the pools tab, is they have a season-long pick'em pool. You can play for $5, you can play for $50, you can play for $1,000, you can play for whatever you want.
Sure.
And it is basically the super contest where you pick 5 games a week against the spread. That's a way of being able to pick and play without doing too much damage to your pocketbook, but also the payouts on them are really, really good.
So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. As I mentioned, use the promo code OG25. You'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-9-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/ NFL Sunday ticket /terms. Limited time offer. Big thanks to Bloomin' Blinds for sponsoring our After Darks. We could not ask for a better start to the season with our After Darks between the State ECU game and then the TCU UNC game.
What a dream.
So what a dream start for Chris and us.
I used to read Word Up magazine.
I know,
baby.
man. So call Chris today, 919-980-9815. As I always say, you support us by supporting our corporate champions. And if you need some new shades, blackout curtains, you got an office that needs some automation, Chris can do all of that for you. All sorts of options with Bloomin' Blinds.
I'm entirely too pleased with myself with that reference.
Yes, 919-980-9815. Look, maybe you need to stage your house. You got to do some upgrades. You're looking to sell it. Shades are an easy way to do that. And then you contact our friends at Hometown Realty, and they can help you sell your house. I know the market's a little weird right now, so this is when you need to not do it on your own and get some experts to help you out. Hometown Realty can do that for you. Check them out online at myhtr.com. And then take it to close. Whitaker and Hamer can help you out with that. They can help out with some other matters as well. Like I thought it was in my contract that I didn't have to do fantasy football.
Oh, okay.
But apparently it is. I'm going to have to talk to Josh about that.
Okay.
WH.lawyer. Again, that's WH.lawyer. It was fun catching up with Gordon Miller yesterday. You can hit them up, 919-447-3377, millerlending.com/the OG. Gordon was at his baseball game last night. He sent us a picture, which is good. Like to see that. You can call him and talk to the crew over there about what you need to know about refinancing. Maybe it's the right time for you to do it. I do know this about Miller Lending. They will tell you whether it's the right time to do it. They're not going to try to force you into something that doesn't actually make financial sense for you. So contact them today. Start that conversation. millerlending.com/the OG. That is our landing page, and you'll get a Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket when you take that thing to close. And of course, our friends at NC Grill Rescue. Maybe you want to refinance because you want that outdoor kitchen of your dreams, right? You've just invested a whole hell of a lot of money to make that outdoor kitchen a reality, but you don't want to ruin it. You got to take care of it. You need the maintenance. This is where NC Grill Rescue comes in.
No need to bury your barbecue. Call NC Grill Rescue. And now it's time for your NC Grill Rescue of the Week.
Please rescue yourselves from having the YouTube algorithm feed you Whitlock. That's my rescue of the week.
In fairness, it wasn't.
Purge your algo.
In fairness, it wasn't the algo. It was Friends. So,
I know. But you see what happens when you send me stuff. Much like Giglio, who sends me all those German TV show things, which I don't mind seeing in my Instagram feed. I don't need that in my feed, guys.
Yeah.
So check out ncgrillrescue.com. Eric's going to make sure that investment lasts a long time. Periodic cleaning as you're getting ready for the season, or when the season's over and you might not be grilling as much, get it all cleaned, ready to go, so that when the spring comes around and you're back to grilling, hey, you're good right out of the gate. So check them out, ncgrillrescue.com. Do you have a rescue? Because that was my rescue.
Oh, I mean, could be any number of rescues this week. But big rescue, though, Nolan McLean from Garner.
Yes.
He's really rescued the Mets. I don't know if you know this. The Mets have been kind of a mess since the start of the season. Since he's been called up, he's won all of his starts. He's gone deep in all of his starts. They've all been quality starts. He went from a guy they just called up to legitimately getting them, securing their playoff spot, to now also probably being their number one starter in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's good stuff. ncgrillrescue.com. Before we take some OG sports phone calls, I do have a correction and clarification.
All mixed up, you don't know what to do. I guess we'll clarify and correct something or two. Cause you know what Joe is not the first or the last thing they've got wrong in the past.
I'm going to blame it on just being tired yesterday. For some reason, I had my Mac Brown soul-sucking post-game embrace with the wrong coach. I had said that it happened to Manny Diaz last year with Duke. That was incorrect. North Carolina had gagged the lead against Duke.
Ooh, that's right.
And then lost to Manny Diaz. It was the year before. That's right. It was I was caught up in the whole emotional Mac Brown. This is the real rivalry.
Crying on the field. Yeah,
It's the real rivalry.
You always want to beat your rival.
So apologies. I got my years confused. It happens. It happens. Without who am I without ChatGPT? Even they get things wrong.
20-0 UNC led. Duke wins 21-20. We should have known because Duke won every close game but one last year.
Yes. Yes. So corrections and clarification.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's go back to the OG Sports phone. What do you think our OG Sports phone's been about, Joe?
Let me guess.
We got a text from a 336. Nothing expresses just how badly that UNC loss is sitting with you guys than pulling out not one but two Jeff Bisdelic references. Yeah.
So
Hold on, let me play the whole clip here.
our radio people told us that you take away those runs and we outscored them by 19.
See, you
take away the pick six and the scoop and score. I mean, and the 75-yard busted defensive assignment. I mean,
man.
Then you only lost 29-14.
Yeah, no big deal. All right, let's go to
27.
Let's go to the sports phone, shall we?
Hey, fellas, Sam on the Outer Banks. Little triangle sports history. The irony is ironic, or time is a flat circle, that the fact that the company that the reason 5-county stadium even exists now gets to run it. At the same time, the company that used to not run scores for the Coastal Plain League in the inaugural season anyway, when I was the PA announcer and clubhouse boy, sweating it out in the press box at Doak with Bruce Winkworth for the lone season of the Raleigh Red Wolves, now owns the league. It's going to put another team there in the CPL. So have a good one.
You can always count on Sam out on the Outer Banks. Check him out if you want Outer Banks news. He's second to none.
Was he breaking news there?
I think he was kind of breaking news. Okay. We had a Bruce Winkworth reference. R.I.P. Bruce, man. He was a real one.
The realist.
All right, to a 919.
Hello, G. 9:19 p.m. Tuesday night. The aftermath of the debacle of doom. Ovies, you keep asking that question. Why in the blue hell is Belichick at UNC? He looks so miserable. Is he a hostage? Is the whole season for UNC football his personal hostage video? I just wonder. Makes no sense. He had it made in the shade on ESPN with the Manning cast and McAfee. A certain muse may be holding him hostage with this bullshit. Thank you as always. Have a good night.
I think we know the answer as to why he's here. Some coaches just can't get over their ego. It's as simple as that. And I know we haven't talked a lot of Belichick today, and there's some existential questions that we received that we'll handle on the OG mailbag on Friday. Because I think there's larger conversations to be had on that one. But we'll do that on Friday. It's part of our YouTube membership channel, and you just hit the join button. It's $5. Can't beat that deal. Let's go to 1828. But to answer your question, the reason why he's here is because certain coaches just aren't well adjusted and can move on. We just talked to a guy in Dave Clawson who seems pretty well adjusted.
Wow.
Right? I mean, I'm going to go hang out with friends and family who I've been a terrible friend and family member to for the last 35 years.
And he probably wasn't, by the way.
He probably wasn't.
Given what I know about Dave and everything he's been through with his son and his wife.
Look at Roy Williams. He finally walked away, and what's he doing? He's living his best life being a Carolina fan, man. Yeah. Although, as Bomani Jones asked the question on Monday's podcast, or on Tuesday's podcast, I get Michael and Roy talking, but what kind of conversation is Roy having with LT?
Oh, I need to call Roy because they definitely played golf on Monday.
Okay. That's
They absolutely played golf at Roy's place on Monday.
You got to hit him up. All right, 828.
Hey, Joe and Joe. I'm listening to your episode from earlier today about debriefing the Monday Night Football debacle, and a thought occurred to me while you were talking about Belichick's motivations for taking this job. Going back to a discussion topic from, a month or two ago, it occurred to me that Bill Belichick is Adam Sandler, and this Carolina football season is Happy Gilmore too, because he is getting a big old paycheck from Carolina or Netflix, putting out a product that is fiercely mediocre, maybe even bad, and using the rest of the clout to take care of his family, take care of he and his. And you know what? More power to him, because he just finessed maybe the greatest heist of all time. But it probably all is for the best, because let's say what he did want worked out, and he wound up coaching Jacksonville for 3 middling 6-7 win seasons, something like that. He'd get to hold that trophy, that record, for about 5 seconds before Andy Reid came and took it away from him. So maybe this is the way it was supposed to be.
It's a great call.
That is a wonderful call. Bill Belichick as Andy Reid, as Adam Sandler is one hell of a take, dude. As honestly, I'm gonna text that person. I'm just gonna send you some breaking tea. Honestly, I'll send you a hoodie.
How about even better? We got a hat.
We got a hat.
We got hats.
We got plenty of hats. We'll send you
giving away things we haven't already paid for, please.
Oh, I see.
There we go.
I see.
Now you're there.
Let's go to 919.
OG Sports Fun. This is Enoch and Raleigh. Third time, long time, I believe. With regard to Giglio's discussion about minor league baseball, while I agree that there should be some sort of grit involved in getting some of these players to the big leagues, you got to keep in mind also a lot of these dudes are going to be career minor leaguers. They're never getting out of the minor leagues. And is it really so bad if a guy who's, frankly, his main job is to be the teammate of the future big leaguer, because you can't just have guys training in a bubble, then, maybe it's not so bad if he doesn't have to eat, doo-doo and sleep on a wooden plank of nails, or however it was back in the day. But love the show. Keep up the great work.
Enoch coming in all reasonable. Although if I start talking about the Dolphins, he might not be reasonable.
No, that's a good point.
That's a very good point. Very, very good point.
But it didn't have to be all or nothing. I think Major League Baseball's greed in their vertical integration of the minors is an untalked about point. That's not hammered enough. And I'm just trying to do my part and throw the seashell back into the sea and see what happens. That's all I'm trying to do.
Old man yells at cloud.
That's all I'm trying to do.
We're all men of a certain age. It happens to the best of us. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We'll have a little Tar Heel therapy with our friend Brooke Pryor tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of hockey, you know what starts up on Friday?
Oh, no.
College hockey.
Oh, okay.
Tim Healy might be dropping by.
Oh, cool.
Let him take a lap on those cities. That City of Oaks jersey. A little kind of familiar, right? Anyway, we'll see you all Thursday
you guys never have any good
for a
ideas.
Butcher's Market OG Live. We'll see you then.